World RX race weekend, you have to go through every emotion. If, come the end game, your goal is to be victorious.
Hello, welcome to qualifying 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championships. Well, it's all to play for a dramatic qualifying 1. Loads of action, a few delays as well, so a quick turnaround to qualifying 2 right now. Down here in the paddock, as you can see, hive of activity. Drivers getting ready and raring to go for their second race, of course. Coming up today, we'll have all of these qualifying races live for you. 3 and 4 will be live tomorrow. But 2 drivers who are going to be very happy indeed moving into qualifying 2 are the Hansen brothers, Timmy and Kevin, P1 and P2. Timmy was, of course, TQ top qualifier. Let's go in and have a quick chat to the guys. Come on into the Peugeot Hansen tent. Excuse me there, lads, just going to muscle in here.
No, Peugeot Hansen, no, that was last year.
That was before,
now
Hansen MGP.
Timmy, TQ, it was a good morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, great. It's great to start the weekend well. I had a good run. It was a big fight for sure to get through. I took the joker on lap 2, Gerla on lap 3, and I made a big mistake actually at the merge to get lag, turbo lag. And
so still speed to come from you then?
No, there was just this one mistake, but the rest of the run was good. But he came really close. But apart from that, it was a good run, and I'm feeling comfortable in the car. We should mention after all the repairs that have been done, like I can't tell any difference, so mega job by the guys.
I was going to ask, how relieved are you that the car is running well, that it's back, that you're here racing? Because it was a huge amount of work to get it even race ready here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm grateful just to be able to race today. I wasn't sure in Abu Dhabi, you know, it's big work for sure, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. But from now on, it's a new race and the car's fixed, and I just have to give the team what give back with a good result.
And no reverse grid, so we'll have the top 5 in that final race. What do you make of it?
Yeah, that's good here. We've seen big track evolution today. Just between mine and Kevin's race in Q1, it was a big difference on the track. So I'm happy for that draw, but I'm sure we'll get the opposite back some point in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And hot on your tails is brother Kevin, of course, our current leader in the overall series rankings as well. A series of firsts for you, of course, in Abu Dhabi. What did you make of your performance here today, and how much more can we see from you?
You know, I think as Timmy spoke about the track evolution, I've been first out on the practice and in the race. So, I think looking on the lap times and comparing on the data we have, I'm quite happy. So now we are in the same race, side by side, which I enjoy the most. Then we know, what we do the both. So I'm going to enjoy Q2 for sure.
Absolutely. We'll let you guys get out in your cars and onto the track. I'll now hand over to Andrew Coley and Dan Rook in commentary.
Great start for the Hansen brothers. It was a great start, of course, last time out Abu Dhabi. Dan, they're all smiles now, but there are 3 sessions to go.
Yeah, of course, anything can happen. But, they're in the box position. They're starting side by side on the grid, so they know they can give each other a bit of room. That's going to be the key thing, is not to squeeze each other into turn 1. So, bit of team tactics they can start to play now.
I suspect there's going to be 3 other people on the grid that don't care and are going to give them all the hassle in the world. So turn 1 here is interesting because it's one of those ones where on the inside, yes, you get to defend your line, and if you get there first, all good. But from the outside, it's right outside our window here, you can carry quite a lot of speed around the outside. Not like a handbrake job like Ericsson, on the loose in Estering, but we've seen people come from the outside. Even Timmy himself came from the outside and managed to slot back in tight.
Yeah, so, it's a Formula 1 circuit, so the tarmac seems to be quite grippy here, and it's quite wide as well, so plenty of room for them to muscle their way down and find their position.
Right, if you missed Q1 earlier, let's take a look back at some of the action from that now. So it started badly for Herve Napik, unfortunately, and Anton Markland. Markland couldn't take the restart after Napik had rolled. That meant it was Cyril Raymond versus Kevin Hansen. 2 RX2, RX Lights legends going up against each other. Of course, they both moved on to Supercar. Kevin got in front of Cyril, and that was the way it stayed. Liam Doran and Timur Zyanov picked up where they left off in Abu Dhabi. A decent fight between the Russian and the Brit. The Russian, though, in front at the start. This moment later in the race, Bachuska coming through in the ES Motorsport Skoda up the inside of Scheider. Very nicely done on the Joker exit, but Scheider was having none of it. And stuck the South Ibiza straight back up the inside at the very next corner. Timmer held on for the win and a very impressive time. Chris Hoy, the Olympic legend, making his World RX debut here this weekend. Complicated to get an RX supercar off the line. Unfortunately, he jumped the start, which meant 2 Jokers for him. At the restart, watch this from Timmy Hansen. Not the best start. Backs out of it, turns inside, up the inside of Chrono. Nicely done. Chase was on between him and Shisharit. Come the Joker lap, Shisharit round the outside, Timmy Hansen up the inside. And Hansen have got it done. He was quite defensive on his line here, potentially costing him a bit of time, and he said he'd gone up a gear too early. Dan Brook had spotted that from the commentary box. Great job by Dan. Timmy taking the checkered flag. Final race of the session, Janis Baumanis around the outside of Backward. A tiny bit of contact between those two. Backward, in fact, ended up down in 3rd place with traffic to deal with. Here he is behind Karai. He took an early Joker. Strategy paid off nicely for him. This is him coming back in front of Karai, and then the chase was on to try and catch up with Baumanis out front. Latvian driver coming through the merge, but Backward had done enough. He took it, and I think the time was about 5th place. So here are the standings after Q1. Timmy Hansen took it from his brother Kevin. Timozyanov was great in 3rd. Shisharit 4th. Baccarat did indeed get 5th. Then it was Gronholm, Baumanis and Cyril Raymond were the top 8. So great job, as we say, by the Hansens. Can they repeat that in this session? Sabo, Doran, Scheider and Bachuska are your top 12 at the minute. Karai, Derrida, Parsonen and Chris Hoy missing out. Dan, a tricky start for Chris Hoy. We've got to give him a mention. Sorry, we know it's a world feed, but he is an Olympic legend, and we do the same wherever he was from. As an Olympic legend to come into a different sport, he's going to be in our first of the supercar races. Of course, we've got RX2 to come first, but tough job to get those cars off the line.
Yeah, super difficult. As you know, if the guys call the feed this morning, I was explaining in Q1 how hard it is, the procedure they have to do. There's so many different things you got to remember. You know, like turning on anti-lag, getting into gear, making sure it's in gear. Sometimes, you know, your gear indicator will say you're in gear, but then you go and release the clutch and you just go
it's
nowhere.
Not there.
So
yeah.
you know, there's so much stuff to check over, and you know, it's going to be so different to cars he's driven before. So.
This was a bit with Chris Hoy earlier on. Driving really well. Now, for those of you who don't know, obviously he did very well indeed in cycling. Coming across to motorsport, he's actually done Le Mans, so he's competed at a very high level, and his inputs in the car I thought were fantastic. Really tidy, good job.
Yeah, he's very smooth, you know, just like you'd expect from a circuit driver, of course. We know what Johan and, you know, Matthias Ekstrom, Timo Scheider, they're all super smooth drivers that come from circuit backgrounds. So we know it's a good platform to come into RX.
Yeah, good job by Chris Hoy. That was him over the jump, I think. Fantastic. Well, we wish him the best of luck in this one. We've got 3 RX2 races to get through first of all, so let's go down to the grid and see who's lining up for us first in RX2. So this is Q2 for the guys. And in this one, of course, those who had their issues in Q1. On the inside, Albert Lavera drives with hand controls, another ex-Olympian. Unfortunately, the start for him isn't quite quick enough with the electric clutch that he uses on the hand controls, so he lost out. Fraser McConnell in the middle of the grid ended up backwards in the wall, up on the first gravel section after just getting a little bit too late on the brakes. And Sammy Matti Trogan rolled his car, so actually an impressive job by his team to get it back out again. Thumbs up. Trogan and McConnell are very quick. We know Lavera's a good peddler as well. I say, unfortunately, he normally loses out at the start thanks to the electric clutch. So let's have a look and see. So not so bad by Lavera, actually. Still a decent start, but as we expected, Sammy Matti Trogan and Fraser McConnell. McConnell getting the whole shot. Now, Dan, Fraser McConnell, for our European viewers, drivers did ARX2 last year, and he was impressive, wasn't he? Straight from rally driving. I've seen some of his onboards. He's a pretty wild guy from Jamaica. I know we're going to have some viewers watching from Jamaica as well. You know, a welcome addition to the championship, and a spectacular driver who's picked up Rallycross very quickly. Yeah,
superb. You know, we saw him last year in ARX2, and he put in some really solid performances. So it's fantastic to have him coming over to Europe. And you know, I don't think we've ever had a Jamaican competing in RX2 before. So for him to then come over and, you know, bring another nationality to the sport and the class that we're racing in now, it's fantastic to see him.
He's quick, isn't he? You can see straight away he's got that lovely attacking style, and in RX2 we do want to see that. It's difficult, isn't it, because you have to balance attack with smoothness, and I actually think he has quite a good concept of that balance that's necessary.
Yeah, it's hard to drive these cars because it's so easy to go over the limit, but you know, when you're pushing that hard and trying to get the maximum out of the car, you just don't want to let the back end break away. There's so many, especially at a track like this where there's so much grip, you don't want to be letting them slide out too far because they lose so much time for the lack of power.
And Lavera there was sliding really hard, wasn't he? And Sammy Matty Trogan is now up behind him, so Sammy Matty Trogan here needs to get past Albert Lavera as fast as he can, and Lavera won't necessarily be easy to pass because this man's got a load of experience from things like WRC and Dakar, and is a great peddler in his own right.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, maybe obviously his hand control's letting him down off the start line, but you know, he's keeping Sammy Matstrogan at bay here, and he's still at the inside.
Yeah, he's still got the inside line, hasn't he? So Sammy Matstrogan possibly jokering too early as we see Lavera maybe run the car a bit wide. Of course, that's where Trogan, of course, hugged the inside to try and avoid the dirt flying up, caught a wheel and rolled the car. So, you know, it's a real fine balancing act.
Yeah, so these guys are going to be trying to hook it in so close to that inside to try and get the maximum, you know, speed through the corner. But it's so easy just to touch a tyre on the tyre barrier, and just that little bit of, you know, rubber on rubber grip can just be enough to drive the car up the barrier and flip it over like we saw earlier.
Fraser McConnell continues to push out front, nice and sideways up through that first gravel section. So now it's going to come down to what the difference is at the Joker. So this should give us a good idea. 4.3 seconds as they cross the line. So is 4.3 enough for McConnell to get through the Joker that he's going to have to go into on this lap? So Fraser McConnell now will slot right. Here he goes, 4.3 the gaps. We say Sammy Matty Trogan coming through on the standard lap now. Fraser McConnell, I think, has got enough, and he'll have a much faster exit speed. Should be able to go around the outside of Sammy Matty Trogan. That's close enough. Dan, I'd say 4.3 is only just enough. 4, and you'd be very, very close indeed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so 4.3 is going to be, you know, the optimum gap that these guys, the spotters, are going to be looking out for. I think, you know, if they went for 4 seconds, with the extra speed you get off the Joker lap, it's going to be close. It will be a straight sprint to the next corner.
Fraser McConnell's going to take this one, which is a good recovery. Likewise for Sammy Matty Trogan. Sammy Matty Trogan losing time, I would suggest, for a short period behind Lavera. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Dan, what are you seeing times-wise?
So we got Fraser McConnell just come in at a 3:25.5, which would have put him P2 in Q1.
That's a very, very good performance indeed. And Sammy Matty Trogan suggesting he's on that pace as well, isn't he? So there are confirmation of the times. And as Dan said, that would have put them absolutely at the sharp end of Q1. So track may have developed a little bit, but we'll see as the quicker cars come through. Both those drivers will need to do quite a lot of work to make it up into the semi-finals. Particularly Sammy Matty Trogan, who had a DNF, of course. So there's the start, and you can see just the slightly slower start for Lavera. I'd love it if we could get that fixed on the car to make sure that he's in the mix off the start, because it's so important in Rallycross. But McConnell with a big old push. I think McConnell, spectacular and great car control. He could tidy up a tiny bit to gain a bit of time, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking little bits here and there, you know. It's not a lot, but for someone who's come in, I think this is his second season in Rallycross, he's you know, putting out fantastic performances.
We were so impressed with him last year in ARX, and one of the things I like, you know, I say tidy it up to gain the time. I don't really want him to. It's a bit like Solberg when he realised that Chris Dawson's tidier style was quicker. I don't really want it. I want sideways.
Yeah, of course, sideways makes for a more spectacular show, but unfortunately, especially with these cars, that isn't the fastest way around, and well, he managed to put in the performance here.
Fraser, really well driven and a good choice to take that joker on the last lap.
Yeah, just listen to my spotter. I have Kevin Eriksson up in the tower with me. But we didn't really get the start of the weekend that we planned for, but we kind of threw all out the window and we're going for it all. And I mean, those OMSC guys did all they could and did as best as I could to repay them by giving them the win. So we're going to fight looking forward, and tomorrow should be good.
Yeah, keep fighting. Well done.
Yeah, great drive by Fraser McConnell. Very impressive indeed. And I think we could see him, you know, I'll say there's only one driver in theory going to miss out on the semi-finals. I think a performance like that by him and Sammy Matty-Trogan is going to get them enough of a points haul that we might well see both through. So we'll get your standings, of course, after Q2 at the end of this session. In this next one then, on the inside, Damien Mounier. Next to him, Vasily Gryazin. Then it's Jimmy Walfredson, Steve Volders and Simon Olofsson. Volders, the reigning touring car champion, in the blue coloured RX2 car, one in from the left. Gryazin one in from the right, has shown great pace. Mounier comes from Supercars in France. Oh, it was a fantastic start from Jimmy Walfredson, but then he had to dip the clutch just slightly in the middle of the grid. It's Olofsson who's going to try and come from all the way around the outside so we can get the whole shot, but Gryazin currently in the lead. Olofsson takes a look in the mirrors of Gryazin, but Gryazin is wise to that. Manages to keep the door shut and brake early enough. I think sometimes, Dan, you just got to back the pack up and not miss your first braking point, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy to just crack under the pressure and, you know, maybe even press the pedal too hard and lock the car up. And so for him to just make that extra little bit of risk, maybe losing a tenth, 2 tenths, just backing them up, he got himself that security.
He did indeed. Olofsson as well, clever tactics. You know what it's like, basically you want the guy in front to drive on his mirrors. So even if you know there is no way to get past, you still keep appearing in his mirrors.
Yeah, so you make sure your whole car is visible there in the mirrors, and you know, even tiny little taps, just a little tap in the bumper, just so they know you're there and they can feel the pressure.
So Olofsson and Gryazin out front. I don't think either of them is necessary. If they felt they were being held up, they may joker. And interestingly, when you've got Kevin Eriksson as your spotter, you know, you're doing all right, aren't you, Fraser McConnell, in the previous race? I hadn't realised, I don't think, that Kevin was up here spotting for him. So, I mean, that's a World RX race winner as your spotter.
Yeah, and obviously a champion in these cars as well. So much experience within the Olsbergs team running these cars.
Tactics absolutely bang on for McConnell. So it's a case of what these guys think now. So coming into the third lap, if you've got a choice now, haven't you, of either follow the leader to the line and don't worry about whether you can get past if you don't think you're any quicker, or split the strategy and hope that something happens to them.
I mean, for me, I think the sensible option for these two guys is to both joker together on the last lap. You know, they run a risk of maybe running back into traffic, and although I think it could be close here for Olofsson with Mounier, so the spotters need to be watching now to make sure they make the right decision. Whether or not they need to respond behind them. What is the gap? It's it's only 3.2, isn't it, from Mounier back to Olofsson, looking at it. No, 4.2, so it's super close between them. So it's about 4.2 between Mounier and Olofsson at the start of that last lap. It's now 4.3, so we know that's just about right. It's just about right then for Olofsson to hold on to his position from Mounier. Walfredson, when he jokers, will drop back definitely behind Mounier, maybe behind Volders as well. So sensible driving from these two and sensible option to joker on the last lap. Going to find out whether or not it pays off now. EDOC's our timing part at the bottom right of your screen. Target time is 3:25.558. Sideways from both. Now it's about getting the hammer down on the exit and trying to get the overlap on Mounier, particularly for Olofsson, and it's job done. So Olofsson moving across nicely, and the extra exit speed will mean he won't be under danger as they get up into that tarmac left. So good drive from these two. How quick is that time of Fraser McConnell? We're about to find out. Fair old run down the hill and then the hairpin to go, and uphill. Checkered flag is rolled out by the marshals in front of the comrade position already. 3:25.558 is the target time. It's going to be super close. He's done it by the tiniest of margins. Not even a tenth of a second. Gryazin has gone quicker. Nicely done. So Gryazin goes quicker, Olofsson not quite. And they were so close together over the line, you wouldn't think you'd be fitting cars in between, but super accurate timing.
Gryazin takes it, and at the moment leads Q2 for RX2. Olofsson P2, Damien Munier quick in this one. Volders 4th, Walfredton 5th. And there they go, McConnell and Sammy Matty Trogan holding on to P2 and P3. Olofsson down in 4th, but Vasily Gryazin is the fastest driver so far in Q2. There's another look back at the start.
So yeah, 2 drivers there having to dip the clutch off the line there. It's so easy to bog these cars down. You know, I remember when I was racing these cars, I never did a dummy start. I never did a practice launch to warm the tyres because I wanted to keep them as cool as possible, maybe even have a little bit of dirt on them, just so you can allow yourself to have that bit of wheel spin, because these cars have not quite the power of a supercar and they're super grippy. It's so easy to just bog. So having that, you know, not quite, you know, peak tyre temperature can help you get away.
Fantastic insight, thank you, Dan. We'll keep our eyes peeled for that. We don't tend to see the cars pulling up to the grid from up here. They're normally in the grid already by the time we get to them. Olofsson and Gryazin very sensibly following each other around. Come the end of the race, those were the positions which they would hold. Gryazin fastest so far. Will it be fastest? We've got 1 race still to go.
Job done for you then, fastest so far. Talk me through the tactics in that one, jokering on the last lap.
It was a good tactic for us. My spotter told me that the joker will be on the last lap. I just trust him. that was it, and I just tried to do the fastest lap, fast laps.
You did fast laps and fastest so far as well. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. But 1 hit is also coming. We will see what will happen.
You will. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah, Gryazin is wise to it, isn't he? He knows it's a good time, but he also knows that the fast guys are still to come. So Ericsson, Kallio, Gundersen, Midtschlag and Nilsson in this one. They're on the line and good to go. So are we. Somebody clearing out the engine with just a little hard throttle blip on the line. Whistle for the marshals, they'll clear. The chief marshal in the centre will give them a thumbs up. They've had the call from race control. It's all pretty carefully controlled. So far, we haven't had any delays in this session, which is nice, because if you're watching earlier this morning, you know we'd had quite the carnage start to the day. Here the car's clunked into gear. Now they're going to go full RPM. You've heard a great explanation from Dan Rook of how to get these things off the line. So who is going to get that done this time out? All of them except Kallio. Kallio looking out to clutch, kick off the line. Ericsson's going to get the whole shot down to turn 1. Locked wheels in the background. Midtschlag trying to come around the outside but loses out this time. Midtschlag ending up banning P5. Oliver Ericsson, look at that. He's absolutely miles in front after 1 corner.
Ollie Ericsson, he's got so much experience in these cars, you know, testing them when they were developing them at Oldsberg's MSE, and I know from, obviously I haven't personally raced with Oliver, but speaking to Nathan Heathcote last year, he said he has never missed a start. He is always perfect. He knows what to do with these cars, and it just goes to show then he got the start, and then, you know, there was the tussle behind him, but that just gave him an even clearer track to go ahead, and, you know, now he's the second in front of Kallio already.
So annoying for Nathan that he's gone off and decided to race in British Touring Car Championships, the Ford category instead. But we'd like to have you back, Nathan Heathcote. You're probably a bit busy right now. I know they're in a race weekend back in the UK, but we've had great representation from the UK in RX2. We've got great representation across a ton of nationalities this year. Fantastic to see. Obviously Norwegians, Finns and Swedes, Latvia, France as well, Belgium, Jamaica and Andorra. Fantastic.
There's smoke there coming off the front end of William Nielsen's car there, so not quite sure what's going on. Maybe a bit of bodywork rubbing from the contact in turn 1.
Ericsson trying to set down the fastest time. Gryazin was 3:25.4, the fastest lap of 47.8. Oh look, Ericsson went a second quicker on his opening lap. That's outrageous.
Super fast, you know, like I was just saying earlier. He's been around these cars so much, and fantastic corner there. I was quite surprised then to see the sideways method work on that hairpin, but he managed to get it in, dip the clutch and just bring the revs and get going again.
Is there an element there of because he's sideways, he's losing some traction, therefore the RPM stays high? I mean, you've driven the cars a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it tended to be that if you were on like a thicker gravel, you would... I'm quite surprised to see you there going for the Joker lap. So although he seems to have come out with a good enough gap.
Really lucky there, because two of the guys behind who might have been in traffic with him now have jokered as well. Interesting tactic. Jesse Kallio tidy through the right, but then a little bit wide on the exit. And of course, Ericsson behind has jokered. So Kallio here could stand to get in front of Ben Philip Gundersen. If he has a good last lap, he's going to need it to be tidier than he was up through that gravel section there, Dan.
Yeah, so you can see the difference from Ollie Ericsson and Kallio there. Ollie just that bit smoother and keeping the wheels facing straight, and he's pulling the gap in now. You can see a couple of tenths a corner.
So here goes Kallio sideways, early on the throttle, then back on the brake, and now early on the throttle again, trying to carry the speed through the exit. Watch for Gundersen on the inside. 4.2 was the gap. 4.3 is only just enough, isn't it? So 4.2, we see they can do it. I think 4.1 is looking like the critical point for these RX2 cars. We'll try and figure out what the gap is roughly for Supercar as well. Ericsson on his last lap, aiming for the 325.4. Looking at his lap times, he should be able to do this. So, oh my goodness me, I think he's going to do it easily. Over the finish line for Ericsson, 322.0. Behind him, Kallio also goes quicker. And Gundersen too. So the top three in this race have all beaten Gryazin. Gryazin was right, wasn't he, when he said there's one more race still to come. But Ericsson, 2.3 seconds quicker than anyone else in this session. That is a fantastic job by him. Ericsson and Kallio, Gundersen, Nielsen and Michalak, P1 and P2 in this race. Go P1 and P2 and indeed P3 as well. So the top three, Ericsson, Kallio and Gundersen, all going to the top three of the table. Oliver Ericsson is fastest again. Here's that start, Dan.
Yeah, you can see here, Ollie Ericsson, he just got the car away, and you can see he's already pulled a gap in front of the guys, and you know, the guys are able to tuck him behind him, and then they got this carnage going on behind with three cars don't go into one, and
they're all wide, and he's gone. It was what was fascinating for me was how early he was fully committed to the throttle. You know, he had the nose of the car turning, and it's the clack, foot to the bulkhead, and the car's gone.
Yeah, like I say, these cars grip so well. So once he knew he was facing the right direction, he could just plant it and go.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And this is going to be a problem for the other drivers in this series this year. All here, of course, that was the hairpin which you said he did so well on to get the car rotated and away again. Yeah, Ericsson is just really, really impressive.
Yeah, super impressive, and obviously, you know, his father's team as well. They've run a lot of experience with these cars and setups, and they had been here when lights were here beforehand, so maybe using previous setups from them.
Well, Ericsson takes it. He's won both sessions today, that one by a massive margin.
Well, a dominant performance, almost 3 seconds quicker than anyone else so far in this RX2. What do you make of your performance today?
It's been good. I had quite a clean heat now. Took the start from the inside, could do my own race, and the strategy we had with Joker on lap 3, so we would get out in clean air as well and use the speed on the straight. So no complaints today, so we try to continue building on it tomorrow.
Well done today, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
So these are the standings after Q2, and you can see, in fact, that the 1, 2, 3 has remained the same in both sessions. Oliver Ericsson, Jesse Kallio, Ben Philip Gundersen in those top three positions in both the first two sessions of the weekend. Gryazin holds fourth, Mounier good in fifth, Nielsen sixth, Michalak seventh. Great recovery from McConnell. Not an ideal run in the first session, but a much better one in the second one. Then it's Olofsson, Volders, Trogan, Walfridsson, and at the minute, Albert Levera is the driver who will miss out on the semi-finals. Oliver Ericsson. Would you like to be up against him in this car right now? You would, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. Silly question, mate.
Yeah, so would I. I'll take that bottom slot away from Albert Levera if he wants. But I mean, it's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, super impressive. You can just see his experience in the car, and you know, he's got so much. He's driven supercars, he's driven RX2s, he's driven a lot for it. He's such a young lad as well, so it's good to see what he can really do here. Yeah, wonderful. We'll see him in the World Championship soon. Of course, we've got quite a few drivers who've moved up from RX2 to the World Championship, and the World Championship is where we're going now. So let's head down then to the grid for race 1 of Q2. On the inside, Chris Hoy.
and it's Ollie Bennett. Herve Napick is not here, which leads me to believe that that car is too badly damaged. And then Anton Markland, 4th on the grid. So Hoy this time will hope to get the start right. There he is on board. Familiar stare of a very successful sportsman. Hoping to get his start sequence right. You can see him working on it early. Markland, meanwhile, needs an amazing result here to try and drag that car up into the semis after a shocking Q1. Super long hold. Much better start this time by Hoy versus his teammate Bennett. Bennett, though, gets the better of him down towards turn 1. Markland, though, the whole shot ahead of all 3 of them. So on board with Chris Hoy now. Chris needs to keep it tidy and try and get a much better time this time round down. But for Markland out front, got to get the hammer down. Yeah, Markland with a DNS in Q1, so that means a 0-point score. It's even worse than a DNF, so he's really got the making up to do now. Do you think there's any chance he can make it through to the semis? I mean, it's pretty wide open. I think it's a big ask, personally. That's what I mean. He's got to be capitalising on those top positions in comparison to other people. Yeah, I mean, he's going to need to be, top 5 for the rest of the qualifying sessions, I would think, to stand a chance. But anything can happen. This is Rallycross, and we saw what happened in Abu Dhabi, so you never know. So keep trying, basically, never give up, as our friend Peter Solberg would say. You were riding on board with Chris Hoy a moment ago, continued to get his head around a 600 horsepower 4-wheel drive supercar, something which Markland should be very, very familiar with indeed. Flies the McGann massively over the jump. Nose bounces on landing. That car is very different from anything else on the grid, Dan. From the outside, it's difficult to, if you're really technical at home, it's easy to understand. But inboard brakes, there's a ton of different things on that car which have been optimised by the original Car Builder Pro driver. The car's now being run by GCK, but they're not that easy to set up. No, not at all. And with so much unique stuff on this car, a lot of the drivers don't have experience of working with it, and the teams don't have much, as much experience of running it as well. So there's a lot of learning from everybody involved here. Of course, this year Markland has brought with him the sponsorship of Bill Stein, the suspension company, and I'm sure they'll be working very hard indeed. Now, you mentioned earlier on about getting these cars launched and how they squat on the start line, and that's one of the things which, having the inboard brakes, the car just won't squat. No, so as we see Ollie Bennett go into the Joker lap here, but yeah, so with the inboard brakes, obviously the brakes are sort of effectively on the differential, so they don't have the same sort of anchorage when they're trying to squat the car down. You ride on board with Chris Hoy. Never thought I'd be saying that. I have to say the World Rallycross Championship, and I think it's super cool. I'm unashamedly a big fan of his, so brilliant to see. I love a sports crossover story. It doesn't matter what the sports are, I love it. When a professional sportsman goes and tries something else, I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm sure we'll have another chat with him at some point this weekend. He was saying yesterday when he launched the car the first time, he couldn't believe how quick it went so quickly up the RPM that he forgot to change it in a second. It's just that fast. Markland, all the way out over the paint, every inch of the track and a few feet more on the final lap. And I say desperately looking for a good time. So the session winning time last time out was 3:11.6 of Timmy Hansen. If he wanted to get in the top 5, he'd be looking at a 3:13.5, and he needs to be somewhere up in the top 5 for me if he stands any chance at all of dragging it through to the semis. Big, wide, lurid slide over the line. It's a 3:13.2, and that would have been good enough for P3 in Q1. So Markland is on it. Chris Hoy's on it as well. You're on board with him now, and he's spun the car. Come on, Chris, fire it back up. Come on, here we go. Yes, on it. Over the line, good stuff. Good stuff. Nice cross. He's annoyed with the mistake at the end of the race. I said, if you've been watching, you'll have heard me say it a few times, but he wanted to minimise his mistakes, and that's because this guy, I say, is a sportsman who's operated at the very top level of sport, and he's annoyed with that little mistake. He shouldn't be too annoyed with himself. This is a big ask. Napick a DNS. Chris Hoy with a little half spin at the finish line there, but still takes P3. His teammate Bennett 1 place in front, but this one was all about Anton Markland. 3:13.2. I think a couple of corners where he was maybe a little bit wide, so there's potentially more pace in that McGann, and that puts him right up in the territory of the two Hansens. He would have been P3 in Q1. Race 1 of Q2 then, all about Anton Markland trying to make up that time. Dan, a fantastic performance, really got the job done, needed the whole shot. Once he was out front, no messing about.
Yeah, so thankfully the GCK McGann delivered on his launch this time around. But yeah, so he really managed to go out and get the job done and put in a solid time to base off to the rest of them.
Oh, around the left-hander there, just a little clip on the barrier. But Markland, I say only tiny, and when we criticise these guys, you know, I mean, Dan, you've operated at this level, I haven't, you know, that's fine. But when we criticise them, we know there's just a tiny bit more there. And Markland, I think, has the pace to be winning there. Chris Hoy is with Laura.
Chris, visible disappointment, frustration there. Talk me through what happened on that final lap.
Yeah, it was going well. I got a late call for the Joker on the first lap, so I got a bit out of shape there. But apart from that, it was pretty smooth and quite happy. I could still see Ollie and the other guy up front. But last corner, you know, it's not over till it's over, and I just bogged down the engine, cut the revs, and it stalled, and I was just desperate trying to get it restarted.
And I know that obviously this morning you had your issues, you've spun out there. Are you still enjoying your experience despite the challenges?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's such a privilege to be here doing this, so you can't not enjoy it. But when you want to do the best job you can, and if you make a mistake, you know, kind of you're kicking yourself. But at the same time, I'm still getting to drive in the World Rallycross Championship. It's such an amazing experience. So yeah, I can't complain.
Go again tomorrow. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Great words from a guy. I say, he's so annoyed, isn't he? Like, and he's loving it, and it's great that he's loving it. And I love the fact he sees this as such a privilege. A great attitude to bring into the sport. But when you operate at that level, he doesn't like mistakes. He wants it to be mint. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does tomorrow. Okay, then we are ready for race 2, Q2. Here's the lineup. Timo Scheider on the inside from Roka Bakuska. Those two had a great fight in the last race. Tamas Karai in the middle. Guillaume de Ridder and Jani Parsonen. De Ridder was 14th. We've got a track limits warning for Anton Markland, but it's only a warning. I think that might be where I said he used all the track a few inches and a few feet more. I mean, that may be track limits, but it's a warning. It's a warning. So Bakuska and Scheider had a good fight last time out. De Ridder could do with a little bit of a change in luck and no jump start. What can they do? Here we go. Ready to race. Revs are up. Watch for the lights to change. Great reaction time from the inside from Bakuska, Karai and Scheider. Scheider's up the inside. Karai going to drag around the outside, up the inside of the wall. Parsonen was on for it, but he over-rotated the car, stuck it in the wall. It's Bakuska that gets the whole shot from Scheider. Karai's gone with him. Scheider loose on the dirt on the inside, holds onto the car though, and now these two need to try and gap the drivers behind them, and it'll all come down to Joker tactics. I thought Parsonen was going to get up the inside of everyone there, Dan. He was nice and late in, and yet he's still down in front of the commentary position.
Yeah, he just got his nose in and just hooked the tyre barrier, and from there he just couldn't pull out of it, just sent it around in a spin, and unfortunately for De Ridder, he got held up in the process as well.
So De Ridder losing some time with that incident for Parsonen in turn 1. Scheider right underneath the rear wing of Bakuska. What does Scheider do here? Because this is that tricky situation, isn't it? If you're in the top heat, you can joker whenever you like because you know everyone's super fast. But Scheider here is in the second to bottom heat, thanks to Q1. And you know, if he jokers now, he could end up back with De Ridder, who's been held up at the start, you know, so it's a job to know when to go. Karai's right with them. To me, Scheider looks like he's been held up. Maybe not much, but is he going to go?
Yeah, I think we're going to see him go. Karai isn't too... So, yeah, there we go. Scheider gone. So, Karai wasn't too far back to... And Karai's made a mistake there as well, so we're just going to drop him back. So, maybe Scheider's going to catch him up. I'm not too sure, but we did see a great battle in Q1 between Scheider and Bakuska. So, we know that the pace between them is similar.
3.3 the gap now. It was 0.4 the other way. So, it looks like the supercars are around 3.7 when we know the RX2 cars were around 4.3. So, about half a second quicker through the joker. Bakuska, for me, a bit too sideways on the exit there, Dan.
Yeah, so just lighting the wheels up and not able to get the traction in to drive them out. You need to be patient coming out of this hairpin. hairpin, not too throttle happy, because it's so easy to light up all four wheels when you have 600 horsepower under your right foot.
Scheider is down to a gap of 2.9, so Scheider, we think, with a gap of 3.7 would have been enough, and Karai's gone. That's played right into Timo Scheider's hands, so Timo Scheider looking to get the best of Baciuska as we see a joke emerge. Karai around the outside of De Ridder. That was closer than I thought it would be as well. So De Ridder just behind Karai. He's done quite well there to make up the time, considering he lost time at the start with Parsonen.
Yeah, so De Ridder bogging on the line and then getting caught up. So he's putting in some. He must be putting in some good lap times. Did I just hear a slight misfire there from Baciuska coming out of the hairpin? So
he's
maybe
losing time, isn't he? Pretty quickly at the minute. Down to 2.6 the gap, and our predictor saying this should be an easy job for Scheider. Flies the jump. That car lands beautifully, it has to be said. Down into the double left. Watch for Scheider on the inside. So Baciuska will have better exit speed. He managed to get underneath Scheider at this very same point last time. You can hear him on the limiter there this time. Dan desperately trying to find the traction and then hit the limiter.
Yeah, so getting maybe a little bit carried away there. Would have probably been a bit more beneficial just to back off and find the traction and grab another gear.
Scheider is going to take this one. Is it going to be quicker than Markland? 3:13.2 was Markland's time. 3:12.005 for Scheider. So that would have put Scheider in P2 in the first session, Dan. So, you know, Scheider's a rapid driver, but are we also seeing track conditions change here?
Yeah, I think maybe there's some development going on in the, in the track, because
RX2 was faster as well, considerably.
Yeah, so and especially with Scheider being held up so much, and to then what would have been a P2 time, I think the track is definitely improving.
Parsonen makes it round to the finish. Shame it didn't work out for him in turn one. Scheider takes it from Baciuska, Karai, De Ridder. This is where they slot in. So Baciuska was faster also than Markland. Look, Karai only just behind. So Markland's time was looking really good. Will Scheider, Baciuska and Markland still be up there? Or is this track getting faster? Scheider's with Laura now.
Timo, 3:12.005 for you there. How much quicker is this track getting?
Well, it's improving every stint, I have to say. We put some new tires now compared to the run before where we had used ones, so we had to deliver now. And we did, luckily, so that's a good end of the day one.
And that time would have put you P2 in Q1 this morning. What are you hoping for by the end of the day today?
Well, let's see. So I think we had 2 clean runs now, which is okay, and this is the base for tomorrow. So we take this and see what comes tomorrow.
Thank you, well done.
Scheider happy enough, new tyres on a developing track. So, okay, I must admit I hadn't accounted for the idea that you might have put new boots on, but if you put new tyres on, you certainly want a clean run, and it went well enough, but I don't know, was it the tyres or was it the track?
Yeah, no, we don't know here. We're going to see the instant there where we thought we saw Parsonen was going to get up the inside.
He was coming in hot, wasn't he? Looking at the reverse angle, Parsonen was coming in hot big time.
So, yeah, unfortunately for him getting tied up, but yeah, Scheider making a good call with a joker lap to manage to overlap
Baciuska, yeah.
So
this was Karai going into the joker lap, and at this point, of course, Scheider was still chasing Baciuska down. We saw Baciuska pretty sideways at the bottom, hairpin. Karai around the outside. De Ridder could have run that a bit wide, but then Karai probably would have just chopped underneath him. Close between those two. And this finally, Baciuska, listen for the rev limiter. There it was. So Baciuska lights it up just a little bit too early, and it's not enough. Scheider understeering over the line, but fastest so far. Next race is already good to launch. 5 very quick drivers. We've got 10 more still to come. So are those guys at the top of the timesheet still going to be there after this? Niklas Gronholm, after free practice 1 this morning, was half a second faster than everyone else. Now they caught up in free practice 2, but Timosyanov, his teammate, was 3rd in the last session, so we know the I-20 is looking good here. Waiting for the last car to pull up to the line. So let's take a look at the full grid for Q2 race 3. Niklas Gronholm on the inside. Next to him, Yannis Baumanis, Cyril Raymond in the middle, Christian Sabo P4 and Liam Doran P5. So the 2 EKS run Audis on the outside. Of course, one from Monster Energy RX Cartel. Sabo, an independent entrant. Going to be seeing 5 EKS Audis at the next round. Cyril Raymond in the middle of the grid for Academy. Balmanis in a decent fight in the last one. But Gronholm will be looking to get the ideal launch and see if he can get it done up into the first corner. Ultra long haul, great reaction time at the middle by Raymond. Gronholm goes backwards off the line. Liam Doran driving around the outside, on the bar and on the gas. Liam Doran sends it, but it's Raymond who gets the whole shot. Liam Doran gets hooked up on the curve and ends up down in P4. Balmanis is third, Sabo in second place. Great tactics by Raymond. Doran, it didn't quite come off.
Yeah, big commitment there from Liam, but just not quite able to get the traction on the limits around the outside, and just wasn't able to get the drive away from the corner and losing out, unfortunately.
Balmanis has decided that he's got more pace. He wants to joker early. Again, he can do that now. Once we're into these final 2 races down, you've got the luxury of knowing that pretty much everyone is on a good pace.
Yeah, exactly. You know, these are the boys that were at the top end of Q1, so we know that everyone here is going to be on a relatively similar pace, and you can afford to take a bit more risk by jokering early now.
Gronholm right up behind Doran. And we saw that Timmins Yarnum and Doran, of course, had that mega cross happening up the top. Sorry, I missed it as they've come past. So Doran looking at the inside of Gronholm.
Change for position there, sorry. Doran wasn't ahead of Gronholm coming out of the hairpin, and then Gronholm getting the cut and better traction out to get past him.
So as I was going to say, so Doran in that fight with Timmins Yarnum in Abu Dhabi and managed to get the better of Timmer with a lovely bit of racecraft. In the last race, Timmer definitely managed to gap Liam. The car looked quicker, and I'm afraid it looks the same here. Gronholm's car looking very fast indeed.
Yeah, so much potential from these I-20s, and we saw in the last round, you know, he was all over Kevin and keeping up with the Peugeot. So what can we expect from this car?
Yeah, loving it. We want to see great results, don't we, from Gronholm and from Timmins Yarnum. We've got Johnny Veman joining the team as well, of course, in Spa in a couple of weeks' time. Another brand new rallycross track. Great to see Veman back with a top rallycross driver in the championships he's contested, and I'm excited about seeing what he's done in the car. I had a word with Pinamaki yesterday. Used to Pinamaki was like, oh, how was Veman in the car? And typically finished, yes, good. That was it. No clues. There are no clues as to how fast he might be. Raymond up behind Sabo, but this is going to be about whether or not Gronholm can get enough of a gap on these two. Sabo in front of Cyril Raymond. So Gronholm's going to need a bigger gap than this, isn't he? He's going to get dropped back down into the traffic, definitely, at this rate. We were thinking, what was it, 2.7 last time round, so I think Sabo's going to take this.
So I just saw from the commentary position there, Liam absolutely lighting the tyres up at the hairpin, smoke bellowing out of the arches, and well,
he had disappointing qualifying, didn't he, in Abu Dhabi, Liam? Gronholm into the joker. He's not going to get the better of Sabo, that's for sure. Cyril Raymond might get him as well. So although the car's looking quick, this race hasn't gone the way of Gronholm. Balmanis is going to try and hold the inside line, make Gronholm go all the way around the outside. Nicholas may have a look on the brakes. He won't from there. Balmanis is late on the brakes, but somehow drags the Fiesta back into the long apex up at the left-hander. So I guess the question now is about race time. Scheider 3:12.005 over the line. 3:11.054. Raymond faster as well. Balmanis just 8/10 off the back of Scheider. So the track is definitely quicker. Christian Sabo, the leader. Could he take his first World RX qualifying session here at Barcelona? Great drive. Sabo takes it from Raymond, Balmanis, Gronholm, Doran. I'll tell you what, Cyril Raymond, that is fantastic as well. Cyril Raymond up in P2 in the GCK Academy car. Wow. Balmanis was 7th after the first session. He's 4th in this one. It is wide open at the minute, but for those two Peugeots, which are still to come. So how quick will the Hansons be around here? On board with Gronholm. Gronholm did not get a good start.
Sorry, I just hearing on board Gronholm's car there, it sounded like he had a problem with the car. He's just rev limiter, trying to put gears and just hitting the rev limiter. It doesn't, like, something's not quite engaging there. I'm not sure what was going on.
So maybe an issue with Gronholm then, which might explain. I mean, he's not exactly miles off, is he? But he's not where we maybe expect it to be. The car looks great, as you say, but definitely not ideal at the start. He had an issue at the start, didn't he? I'm sure at the last round. So this was Sabo leading Gronholm on the big chase. But there wasn't enough time to make it up. Semi-final had a problem with the start, so I wonder if that's a recurring issue. Come the merge, managing not to get too stuck in. Well managed. Super job to keep it tidy and tight on the inside. You've got to force them to go the long way around you, Dan, if you want to hold them off.
Yeah, exactly. If they've got the extra speed and the inside line, then you're probably not going to stand a chance to block them off of the Joker.
Sabo takes it, and he is currently the leader in Q2.
Well done, 3:11.05, the quickest time we've seen so far today. But we do have that final race to come, don't we? What do you make of your chances here?
Well, we will see. Out of 5 guys, it never happened, or it barely happened that all of them are front of a heat winner. It's my first heat win here in the World RX, so I'm really happy. I got some good advices in advance from the big boss, from Matthias. So it worked. So I'm really happy.
Well, a debut podium in Abu Dhabi and a debut win here. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
So he's Sabo's happy and said he got some good advice from Matthias Ekstrom. So hello, Matthias. I guess you're watching back at home. I wonder what the good advice was. Maybe Matthias would be kind enough to let us know. Drop us a line, Matthias. Tell us what you told Christian. But that's impressive, and he's super pleased, isn't he? That's his first heat race win in the World Championship.
Yeah, that means so much to him. To be the first person to see the checkered flag it's gonna be a great feeling.
Yeah, good job by him. Timosyanov in the sister Hyundai to Gronholm. Kevin Hansen, the World Championship leader. Didn't think we'd be saying that coming to round 2, and that's no insult to Kevin. It just wasn't what the form book said. Yeah, the form book said our 2 most winning drivers are Timmy Hansen and Andreas Backerud. They had an absolute shocker in Abu Dhabi, and they are together on the grid here. Final race of Q2, race 4. On the inside, Timmy Hansen, who won both the qualifying sessions in Abu Dhabi before that disastrous contact with Andreas Backerud, who's on the opposite side of the grid to him. Timmy with his brother Kevin, the World Championship leader, alongside him. Timosyanov and Gulan Shisharit with brilliant performances in Q1 to find themselves in this final Q2 race. Here we go. So Kevin Hansen has lined his car up as far across the grid as he can to give space on the inside, I'm guessing, for Timmy to be able to move over a bit. They're going to need a great start to get away from the likes of Gronholm. Sorry, Timosyanov and Backerud. Green light, good start on the middle for Backerud and on the inside for Timmy, but Backerud trying to come around the outside. Timosyanov's got a pole shot. That was a mega start by him. Backerud alongside Timmy Hansen. Kevin Hansen, is he alongside Backerud too? Sam Backerud has to give up that position as well. I really thought he might be able to hold on to P3. Timmy Hansen now into the lead from Timosyanov.
Yeah, Timmy there, just able to get the traction. I thought Timosyanov was able to hold around the outside, but maybe a little bit too much sideways, and Timmy was just able to get on it.
So Timmy Hansen leads from Timosyanov. Kevin Hansen goes Joker on lap 1, wants to find himself a bit of space to operate. And now we're going to see, I suppose, the true pace of Timosyanov. Can he hold on to the back of Timmy Hansen? Of course, we also don't know what tyres these guys are on. You have any of them taking new boots, or are they all running used?
Yeah, obviously we don't know that, used tyre rule hasn't quite come in yet, so I think these guys have got more new boots than what they'd normally have due to the tyres being on the way back from Abu Dhabi, so they could have taken the option. I just heard out the window, the commentary position, I think somebody has a misfire. I wasn't quite sure who.
We'll figure it out on the next lap round. I'm sure once we see the timing screens, we'll be able to guess who's not going quickly. We ride on board with Backerud into the standard lap, following on from Timosyanov. And Timmy Hansen leading out front. Fastest lap so far was Sabo with a 45. We got a 44.2 actually from Cyril Raymond. But Timmy Hansen's already done a 44.0. So Dan, this track is definitely faster.
Yeah, 100%. Although you can see, like the blue-black line in the loose section, they're still scrubbing it off and getting rid of the dirt. I think they're going to be doing that most of the weekend.
Fastest lap of the day, Timmy Hansen drops into the 43s for the first time, 43.8. Tidy from Backerud, following on from Timosyanov, who's a little bit more sideways. Timmy Hansen looks to have gapped them just the tiniest bit in the Peugeot now. Backerud still following these guys. They're all going to take the same Joker lap strategy. Meanwhile, Kevin has managed to catch up with Shisharit. Shisharit's going to drop back now. He takes the Joker lap. Kevin, obviously, super close behind him. So I wonder how many cars do you think Kevin will be able to get in front of Dan once these jokers play out? I think I've got a good idea where he's going to be.
Yeah, I think he could be up there. Well, he's definitely going to be amongst it. It's going to be super close joker merge when all of these guys go. Especially now Kevin's got a bit more clear air with Chishirit dropping out in front of him.
Timmy Hansen, look at that. Hammer down again, 43.6. He's gone 0.2 of a second quicker on every lap he's done. Just the joker lap to go. Flies the Peugeot beautifully over the jump. He slots to the right. Timazyanov will follow him in, so will backward. Look to the inside for Kevin Hansen, Timmy's brother and teammate, the World Championship leader. On the gas now. Timazyanov will look for a way through. Oh, he looks up the inside, but Kevin's just got the door shut, and that is exactly where the timing screen said he would pop back out. The target time is 3:11.0. You don't need to be a genius to know that when you set 3 fastest laps of the day in a row, Timmy Hansen is undoubtedly going to smash that unless he has a shocker in this last corner. Round the left-hander and on the gas. That's the benchmark for the weekend, 3:08.500. Kevin Hansen goes quicker too. Timazyanov is super close to the time of Sabo 3. Yeah, so in fact, Tim has gone slightly quicker as well. So Timmer goes 300ths quicker than Sabo went. But it is Timmy Hansen who leads at the end of day one, having won Q1 and Q2. His brother Kevin, P2 in both sessions. And that's going to see those two guys first and second overnight. Timazyanov third, backward fourth, Chishirit fifth in this one. There's where they slot in. So Chishirit not in the top 8, so that wasn't a great run for him. Backward gets another 5th place. Sabo great up in 4th. Timazyanov having a fantastic week as well. Timmer was third in both. So yeah, it's going to be Timmy, Kevin, Timmer. And in fact, of course, that's the exact same results we had in the first session. So same as in RX2. Top 3 have been the same in Q1 and Q2. Well, let's take a look back at the action from the final race of Q2. Timmy Hansen on the inside with a good start. Timmer had a great start here, and I thought, at this point, Timmer had got it. But he's just looking sideways all the way, isn't he, through the long left-hander, and Timmy's just got the car straight and gone.
Yeah, so where Timmy's just got himself straight, you can see here, Timmy's driving straight, and you can see the angle that Timazyanov has got whilst he's trying to pull out the corner. So, you know, wasted energy with the car just sliding.
Hell of a drift, though, give him that. You know, you get good marks for that in Formula D. It was a long way back, wasn't it? He came from
points.
Yeah, very much. Send it, skids. Timmy over the jump. Timmer behind him. For me, the first lap, Timmer looked like he was right on the back of Timmy, and then Timmy was like 2/10 quicker, 2/10 quicker. I mean, it's just amazing. It really is. 3 fastest laps in a row for Timmy Hansen, followed by a very good joker indeed. There's the merge. Timazyanov unable to do anything about Kevin in front of him. Top 3 are the same in Q2 as they were in Q1, and Timmy Hansen is your overnight TQ again.
Timmy, the fastest laps of the day, the fastest time of the day so far, your TQ going into Sunday. Job done for a Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be better. This run that I just made, everything was there. I think it was the best run I've done all year, including all the testing, including any other racing. You know, these 4 laps, finally I feel like I'm 100% back in my zone, and to do this, even though it might look boring on TV, from the inside is the best thing in the world.
Well, thank you very much. Well done today. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Trust me, Timmy, it doesn't look boring on the TV. It looks awesome. He's looking absolutely fantastic. 2 session wins for Timmy Hansen from his brother Kevin Hansen, from Timazyanov. And in fact, look, Andreas Backrud showing up there in 4th as well. So now, of course, Backrud was 5th twice, so 239 points for him. So he was 5th twice, but that consistency is enough to see him in 4th ahead of Sabo and Chishirit, who both took turns, look, with their 40-point scores of being in 4th place. But the top 3, the same in both sessions. Your top 8, Hansen, Timazyanov, Backrud, Sabo, Raymond, Balmanis and Chishirit. Gronholm is in 9th, Scheider 10th, Bachuska is 11th, Liam Doran down in 12th place. At the minute, it's Karai, Derrida, Hoy and Parsonen missing out. Chris Hoy is 1 place ahead of Parsonen, and he said yesterday he would like to have, if he beats anyone, he'd be happy. two more sessions to go, but, you know, go on, Chris.
Yeah, fantastic work from him, of course. it's going to be so nerve-wracking for him going through Q1, first ever race in a rallycross car. You know, all sorts. You don't know what to expect. Q2, you know, he looked a lot more relaxed, apart from his little mistake at the end. But he looks like he's definitely getting more in tune with his car. So he's going to be sleeping on it tonight. I'm sure he's going to be doing his homework, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does tomorrow.
Other end of the table, unbelievable performances from Timmy Hansen, Kevin Hansen, but particularly for me, Timur Timosyanov, I think, is the standout performer in third place. So we'll catch up with those guys at the end of day press conference, which you'll be able to catch online later on today, get their thoughts, and of course we've got another couple of sessions tomorrow. Now, the grids for Q2 were in the same order as they always are, fastest last, but for Q2 and Q3, as you know, new for this year, we have a randomizer to decide who goes first. The weather's looking pretty dry overnight, but, you know, we might get a bit of overnight dampness, so it could be crucial to which way the grid's going Q3. So let's have a look and see which way the grid will be for Q3 tomorrow morning. So S is for slowest and F is for fastest. Whichever it lands on, they go first in the morning. So far in Abu Dhabi, we had one go each way, and I think this one is going to go the way of... Oh, okay, so it's gone fastest first. So last time out in Abu Dhabi, I think it was Q2, wasn't it, that was fastest first? So that did go reverse, but the track conditions didn't change there, because in Abu Dhabi it was just super high temperatures and super dry the whole time. But here in Spain, it's going to depend on what track prep they do overnight. And so if it's wet, and the fastest guys go first, that could really cause them problems. We're not thinking wet, but track prep, I'm thinking. You know, the track's going to clean a lot. Tomorrow, there's not many laps before they get out there. Today, we had all that free practice. Tomorrow, 2 laps of warm-up.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they might be piling down the dust X to keep the dust down for tomorrow. They don't know what's going to be going on. So, yeah, they're going to want to... It's going to be tricky for the guys. We don't know what the conditions are going to be like.
Great stuff from day one here in Barcelona. Timmy Hansen was on top of the standings last time out in Abu Dhabi, and you know what happened there. There's a long way to go, so make sure you join us tomorrow for Q3, Q4, the semis and the finals. Thanks to Laura Winter and Dan Rook. We'll see you in the morning.